Missouri's turkey season opened April 20th. I was so excited. But that morning, when Adam and I headed out, it was extremely windy, like 20 miles per hour, and stayed that way until season closed at 1 p.m. We checked a couple of our RECONYX cameras that afternoon and felt we had a better plan for Tuesday morning.
GrowingDeer.tv is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops, also by RECONYX, Trophy Rock, Eagle Seed, Nikon, Winchester, Scentmaster, Dead Downwind, Antler Dirt, Lacrosse Footwear, Whitetail Properties, Bloodsport Arrows, Outdoor Edge Knife, Flatwood Natives, Morel Targets, Caldwell, Hooks Custom Calls, Montana Decoy, Prime Bows, G5 Broadheads, and Redneck Hunting Blinds.
As the sunrise progressed and it was getting lighter and lighter, no toms were gobbling close, but we could hear some back up near the top of the mountain. That sound was more than enough to lure Adam and I to walk up the steep hill.
Second morning of Missouri's turkey season. Weather's much better today. A couple gobblers about 300 plus yards up ahead of us, working the call, bringing them in.
As the tom worked closer to our setup, it sounded like he was working towards the side of the hill in the timber, and we feared he wouldn't give us a good shot. That's in fact what happened, and rather than risk a bad shot or spooking a tom trying to move around, we simply let him pass right by, drift behind us 100 or so yards, then got up and changed positions. When we settled into our second set, about 50 yards further away from the tom, started calling, here he came again.
I can take him.
Wouldn't you know it, this old tom gave us a slip again by staying in the thick cover. Once again, we let this tom drift out of range, picked up all our gear, and moved about 100 yards further back, and this time in the timber. Once we got set up and Adam hit a call, we had a surprise. A different tom fired up about 100 yards or more behind us. As many turkey hunters have experienced, we're now in full scramble mode, trying to get in a better position for that tom. Facing southwest, we were eagerly watching up the road, waiting for this tom to appear. We weren't surprised when the first tom fired up behind us and was closing the gap once again.
Do you think we need to turn around? I don't know, they're about the same. It's a bad situation either way.
At the time, Adam and I didn't think it was very funny, but watching the GoPro footage, it's pretty hilarious. Adam and I talking and shifting around, trying to decide which side of the tree to get on based on which tom was going to get there first.
I can't tell.
Adam and I heard a hen fire up. We immediately called back, knowing if we could call in the hen, one of the toms would come in tow.
Which one was that?
The one behind us. Once we figured out the game, we switched around the tree again, started calling very aggressively to the hen, knowing that often you can call the hen in easier than the tom.
Which one was that? I couldn't tell. front, the hen is to the left. Just let him come. Come on, big girl. He's just to the right. Can you see the gobbler? Yeah. Looks like Dad up. Are you ready?
Praise God.
Praise God. That was some dancing. Man, when I saw that fan barely over the edge up there, and then he cut over here in the woods, I was like, not again. But the hen kept coming. I said, no, he's gonna follow that hen. Oh yeah, that's a good Ozark bird there. Ooh, look at the hooks on that rascal. This might be another limb hanger. Oh yeah, look at that, for the Ozarks. This bird come down, see that fan barely over the hill. Ooh, I love that. That moment of tension makes you anxious and eager at the same time. That hen committed to coming down the road, you know he's coming after her. Brought him right in to Longbeard Range. Hang on one of them. Limb hanger, 45.3 yards to the tree. We're right here at the feather pile. 45.3. Well, at least it's downhill versus uphill.
Yeah. That's a pretty short walk.
And pretty short walk.
Turkey hunting's always exciting, and we can't wait to get back out there another day. Whether deer hunting or turkey hunting, I talk a lot about scouting from the skinning shed, or looking in the crop of a turkey or the stomach of a deer and see what they've been eating. But when you look in the crop of a gobbler you killed right off the roost, you're not likely to find much, and that was the case with this big tom. Turkey season is also one of Heath and Lindsay Martin's favorite time of year. Turkey season is open in Kansas, and Heath and Lindsay have their prime bows tuned up. So Heath and Lindsay pack up and road trip to Kansas. On this trip, they're headed to southeast Kansas, an area known for beautiful eastern Rio hybrids. Later that afternoon, they were finally into birds.
He's right there.
Heath was finally getting some good responses, but it was obvious something else had their attention.
So the jakes and the hens have went east. I don't know where they're roosting yet, but they're going east to roost, so we're going to listen. But just a few minutes ago, the longbeard that we didn't kill came back out in the pipeline, strutted a minute, and then he walked down this way, so he's going to be roosted right here in this bottom, I hope.
The next morning, Heath and Lindsay are within 100 yards of where they were the previous afternoon. It's not long, and Heath calls in a big tom. Something has this longbeard on the edge, and he slips back into the woods. As Heath expects, this longbeard's probably being harassed by this bunch of jakes. It's odd, but it seems these jakes have all the hens to theirself, not a longbeard in sight. Notice this procession come to a halt as these hens inspect the Miss Perfect decoy. These are some big jakes, sometimes called super jakes. They're likely the earliest born poults last year. They've simply had more time to grow. Check out the hen interacting with the Miss Perfect decoy. The final morning proved slow. With dark clouds approaching, Heath and Lindsay decide they might as well head for the truck before the storm arrives. Remember, this is Kansas, tornado country, and you need to think twice about approaching storms. But then Heath hears a distant gobble. Heath and Lindsay are torn between hustling for the truck or the gobbler.
There he is right there. Holy cow. We're basically packed up and walking back to the truck to go home, get ready to go home. We kept hearing this bird gobble in the distance. Kept getting closer and closer, and I thought he was coming this way. So long story short, we just snuck in the woods here. Crow called, he's gobbling. We just barely we hadn't even been turned around and sit down in the blind, a hen yet, but I could see his head coming through the woods. Holy cow. There he is right there. Yes. Changed our game plan a little bit, and I think being just in the woods might have helped that out instead of being up in that open pipeline right up there. So, and he was coming this way. We were where he wanted to be, so I just had to strike on that hook's slate call 2 or 3 times, and I could see his head coming, so we just barely got set up in time. We've had several go wrong and didn't work out. We got this one to work out. What a great end to a nice weekend.
Wow, that was a last chance bird. Congratulations, Heath and Lindsay. They hung in there, braved the storm, and got the job done. Lindsay's up to bat next, and rumor has it, she had a great hunt. I hope you have a chance to get outside and enjoy creation with someone you care about this week, but most importantly, take time, be quiet, and listen to what the Creator is saying to you. Thanks for watching GrowingDeer.tv.